Welcome students! This series of videos will be aimed at helping you with the lesson Peeling Back the Layers. And what I'd like you to do, if you haven't already done so, is to open up the InDesign program. Then what I'd like you to do is to double click on Open and then go and select the file called Template Peeling Back the Layers with InDesign and double click on that. And if you've opened up the correct document, you should see 3 pages if you scroll down with your mouse wheel. And it should be the colour blue, and there's a few odds sort of looking boxes and buttons around the place. So the next thing I'd like to do is a bit of housekeeping. So first and foremost, in this top section up here, just make sure that you have digital publishing selected. What that means is the particular workspace that you're going to be working in is going to need things like buttons and animations, and you'll find them here when you use the digital publishing. If you select something else like printing and proofing, they're not there. So always make sure you're working in digital publishing with this project. The next thing, when you're working with navigation in a document, a couple of really easy ways to get around. So you know how you have your mouse wheel to scroll up and down. Well, if you hold down the control button and scroll your mouse wheel, you'll actually go left and right. Further to that, if you hold down the Alt key and use your mouse wheel, you can zoom in and zoom out. So over time you get quicker, and you'll find that you're able to navigate your document very quickly just using your mouse wheel and the Control and Alt keys. And it'll save you hours and hours of time over years, if you keep using this program, to navigate through your documents. The other tools to remember that are crucial is the Selection tool, or V, and the Direct Selection tool, A. So the Selection tool V will select a generic object, and you can move that object around. Whereas if you use the Direct Selection tool A, you can actually select individual components, such as this corner here on this rectangle. And see, you can pull it around and stretch it and move it and let it go. If you ever do something and you think, whoops, shouldn't have done that, simply press Ctrl Z and it will revert back to how it was. Just means it's undo. Another feature to not forget is, see this grey area around your InDesign document? Well, this is called the pasteboard. So basically anything in this grey area will not actually come through in your final product. So take for example this box here. If I drag it into my document, you'll be able to see it in the final product. If I drag it off the document, it won't appear. But if it's half in and half out, that half of it will appear. Now to check to see what your final product is actually going to look like, you can press Shift W and you can actually see how it will look. And you can see there that box that was half in, yeah, so it's half out. So that's a good way to check your work. If you press Escape, it will revert back to the view you were previously looking at. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to import content from Word. Now you can do it one of 2 ways. You can have your Word document open and simply select the text, copy it and paste it into one of these boxes here. Or if you have a document saved and you'd like to import it in, you can press Ctrl D. You can go to a Word document. In this case here, I will choose this test document here and click Open. And this text box here that I had, all of that content from that Word document has gone into it. So you can see it here. If you see this little plus sign, you can click on it and click again. It means that there was extra content in the document and it didn't quite have enough room to get into the box that you had made. So that's one way of bringing in Word content into your InDesign file. From there, you can pull it across, you can stretch it by dragging the little white boxes, and if you end up with this situation where there's not enough room and it's going off the page, you can do one of two things. See this little play button just here in the corner? Or you can click on that and click again, and it will continue the text. So this is a good way of knowing if you haven't got enough room. You can start to lay out your document and start to bring in your text boxes and resize them and adjust them and see how much room you've got. The other alternative is you can actually just type directly into these boxes here in the template provided and just start typing away. Okay, hopefully you've got enough of an understanding about how to pull in your Word content. So after you've done your research and all your links, the first page would be where you put about your project as well as the links to your sources. Then as you're coming through and working with the document, the information for your first part of this project on the muscles will go in here, as well as the location. So you could probably do something like this. You don't have to do this. This is just a suggestion. But just make sure that you can identify where that particular muscle and the other system you use, where it is on the body. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to bring in an image. So if you hold down the Alt key and zoom in on this page here, there's a little box here. And ideally it's meant to be a small box aimed at helping you pull in images to support your report. Now what you can do is you can click on this box and you can press Ctrl D. And you can go down to an image. I'm going to go and find an image for you. Let's have a look. Let's use the arm. I'll click on this image here and click Open. And there you have it. So there's an image of an arm. It's nicely placed inside there, and it saves you having to resize and drag images if they're too big. And if that sounds confusing, let me show you. So if I didn't select that box and I pressed Ctrl D and I clicked on the photo of the arm and clicked Open and clicked, oh, it's huge. See how it goes off the page? In fact, it's so large, it goes over 2 pages. So then I'd have to resize it. I'd have to drag it in and get all the proportions right. And then, lo and behold, oh no, the image is not there. So the best practice for you for this project is to make sure you use this little template here. It's already animated. And you can make a copy of anything here just by holding down the Alt key, selecting the object and dragging it down. Now if I want to change the image in there, I can click on that box, click Ctrl D and select another image. So if that's not the right size for you, you can double click inside the image, double click, and you'll see a brown box. What you can do is you can drag these corners and it starts to bring the image in size. There you go. Even though the brown box is on the outside, it looks rather large. The blue box is the container. That's what's actually going to display. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is paragraph styles. Now, if you're not sure what a paragraph style is, and it may or may not be something you use, it basically means we have one style in our entire document for the text, and we can apply it to multiple areas. So what I'd like you to do is, over here, click Paragraph Styles, or you can press F11. You'll note that it says Body and Heading. And there's another one here called Normal, and that's because we pulled in content from our Word document. But I don't want you to worry about that for now. I just want you to worry about these two. If I double click inside my text box, see how the heading is illuminated? It's blue. Well, that means that it's using that paragraph style. And the same, if I click on the text underneath it, see how it's highlighted the body? That means it's using that paragraph style. Now, if you'd like to change any of these, you can simply double click on the paragraph style. Then you can change things like the character. So I'm using Lato, but you can change it to whatever you like. You can also change the size, and if you'd like, you can change the color. So you go down to color down here as well. And so you can change the color. There's a couple of colors here. And if I click, let's say I choose this brown color here. Click OK. Note how a lot of the text in the document changed at the same time. What that means is, when you're typing, if you assign a paragraph style to what you're typing and you want to make a change, you only have to change it once. This will save you hours and hours of time, especially if this document becomes larger. If you're not happy with the color, you can press Ctrl Z to undo, and it reverts back. Okay, the next thing I'd like to show you is how to change colors. So over here on the right, I have color, stroke, gradient, swatches, and libraries. But if you didn't see that, you can simply go up to Digital Publishing, click Reset Digital Publishing, minimize this window. And what we're looking for, see here the palette that has color, stroke, gradient, swatches. Well, if you click just on the top of it and hold it down and drag it into this workspace, there. You can easily see it now, and it actually includes the CC libraries as well, which is good. So, let's say you've moved on to, you want to change the color of this box here. What you can do is you can double click on the box. There's something in front of it there, I'm just going to remove that. There's a box here that you can use for a background. I'm just going to remove that one and drag it off. You can double click on this box, go up to swatches, and scrolling down, I've actually given you a couple of swatches here that you can actually use. So there's your basic ones here, and teal, magenta, but I've also given you yellow, and you can choose any of these colors, light blue, and bright red as well. So let's say we want to change this to a light blue. Oh, notice how it's done the outside of the box. So if you look here on the left, you'll see the yellow square and the blue stroke. Now what you can do is you can press Shift X and it will switch them around, but you still have a yellow box on the outside. If you'd like to change the stroke as well, you can make sure that the stroke is selected here, see the squares in front, and then click a different color. Let's choose a darker blue. There we are. Now, if you like what you see here and you're happy with it, but you'd like to apply it to this little weird looking sort of triangle thing here, you can click the box that you just edited and press the eye tool, and then eye tool is the eyedropper tool. Then you click the box and voila. Notice how that changed? I'll show you again. Press Ctrl Z. So selecting the text box here, clicking the eyedropper tool, and then coming down to this little yellow triangle and click. And there it is there. Now, notice how that blue line is in front and the text box is there. Well, what you can do is you can click on the text box and press Control right square bracket or Control Shift right square bracket. Now, notice this triangle, how it's in front and the text box is behind. But what you can do is you can double click inside here, click this text box here, right click, go to Arrange, Center Back, and it takes it back. And that applies to a lot of these boxes as well. So what I'm going to show you now is how to arrange this little triangle so it sits behind the text box. So if you double click and then click on this triangle, you can click right click, arrange, send to back, and it sends it to the back. Alternatively, you can actually press Control Shift left square bracket. So if I show you that again, I'll undo. So Control Shift left square bracket, and if I want to bring it to the front, I can press Control Shift right square bracket. So it's a nice easy shortcut if you wanted to get things to and from. Okay, now we're going to get into some of the animation components. So I'm going to show you how to do the buttons first. So you'll note here in your template it has page 1, page 2 and page 3. Now these buttons are quite big and large just to help you, but if you're doing more pages you can actually shrink these down in size. You can actually shrink them down if you need to. In the panel on your right hand side there's a buttons and forms panel, so click on that. You'll note here that this particular button in this template is already done for you. So it means on release or tap, so when you click the button, it's going to say go to a page. And in this case, this is going to go to page 1. Now keeping this window open, if I click on this button, it now says going to page 2. And likewise for the other one as well, page 3. So if you scroll down to the next page and click on the buttons, you can actually see what the button is intending to do. So it's a very basic navigation, but let's say you wanted to make your own button from scratch. What you can do is, let's make a shape. We'll make a circle. So press L, press Shift and drag it out. Now it's got a blue colour. You can then select the circle and the buttons and forms panel here. Click on the little chevron. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is the animation pane. So if you look at this, you'll actually see that most of the text boxes in this template have already got an animation for you. But there's a couple of different things that you can do. You can have animations appear when the document opens or when you move to a new page, or you can have the animations happen, say if you wanted to click on a particular part of the body. So what I might do in this case is I'll show you both. First I'll show you these animations on the right, and then I'll show you how we can do something cool with these animations on the left. So if you click on this box here, then go to the animation pane, you'll actually see it says the name of the object. Now you can call this whatever you want. You can call this by number or by title. And there's a drop down menu here. And there's lots and lots of animations you can choose from. So you don't have to just have fly in from right. You can try fade out. You can try fade in. You can do all sorts of stuff. Now, if you ever want to see how your animation will look in real time, you can click on this little play button in the bottom left-hand corner here. And you can drag this window so it's nice and big and click play. And there you have it. There's the animations. So this is a good way of checking your work and seeing that everything works just before you send it to the teacher. So you can close that down. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to do animations on a button click. So let's say, for example, you wanted this box here that you've designed to happen when you click on this part of the arm. Well, for starters, what you need to do is you need a button. So I'm going to also show you how to make a quick button. You're going to, let's say we make a little circle by using the ellipsis tool, or L. If you hold down the Shift key, you'll make a perfect circle. And let's say I drag that button, or sorry, that object to here. Now, it doesn't do anything yet, so we have to turn it into a button. So if you right-click the circle, go down to Interactive, and click Convert to Button. Great. Now this little circle is actually a button. It's something you can actually click in a document. So then what I'm going to get you to do is this text box here. I'm going to get you to add an animation. Well, it's already got an animation here already. But if you wanted to change it, you can as well. Let's change it to fly in from left. Now the only difference here, guys, and this might be a little bit tricky, so really focus, is the events. Now it says on page load, but we want to change it to a button click. So if you click on the button click, go down to this little button and click it. Great. So that means that that animation is going to appear when that button is clicked. However, this is one of the annoying things that you'll have to check. If you go back to the animation, note that it says on page load and on release. Well, what you'll have to do is actually click on this little chevron and deselect on page load. If you want to check your work to see if you got it right, click on the little play button. And there's our animations that are fading in on page load. Great. And click. There it is. So that works. Now, hopefully you guys have got all the information you need to basically work around how to bring content in, bring images in, change colors, add buttons, add animations, and make them appear on a button click. Now we want to publish this online. So what you can do is, once you're happy with your document, you can simply go up to this Publish Online button up here, click it. Now, your teacher will probably ask you to design this with your name. So if your name is, I'm going to put my name in. And then what you're going to do is you can click on Advanced if you want to change the title page. So in this case, I'm going to choose page 1. Or you can even choose an image. So if you're really savvy, you might want to choose a different image. I might actually see if I've got one. Maybe not. No, I'll just leave it like that. So if you're happy, you can click Publish. And it'll upload your document. I'm sort of rushing this one through a bit. And once it's finished uploading, it should say your document is ready. Might take a little while depending on how busy it is. There we go. Now what you can do here is, I would do this first. I'd click View Your Document to check your work. But this link here is the link that you copy and the link that you would send to your teacher. Okay, hopefully this has given you a good understanding about how to work with InDesign and make a great resource using animations and buttons. If there's any issues at all, students, with any of the features you've seen or that you're using, please contact your teacher and I'll endeavour to make sure that any hassles are fixed and you can go about making a great resource and eventually get to publishing your own work. Thanks for watching.